episode of the Screen Addicts podcast, and I'm one of your co-hosts, Cinema, Steven Sosa.
And I am back, and I am your other co-host, Chris TV Villegas, also known as 23 was for me, my friend.
It was indeed. Welcome back, sir. What a journey you've been on the last few weeks. My man, Chris, you've been doing some big things, man. You can share as much as you want or what you don't want, but this has been a busy man. And, you know, I've been singing your praises in your absence, too. I've been letting our listeners, reminding them that our man, TV Villegas, is still watching TV, but he's also pretty busy in his own personal life. And
yeah. Oh, man. We'll come back to this because I have a bone to pick with you about one of your episodes, okay? So we'll come back to this.
Well, I don't know. Okay, give me a preview. Which one was it? Which episode?
The episode of your rom-coms.
Oh, okay. I think exactly I know what it is. I think I know what it is. I can't wait.
Oh, yeah.
I can't wait. And we'll talk about it. I can't wait.
Oh,
this is the kind of antagonism that I've missed. Everybody's been too nice lately. And,
I know. I mean, like, why is everybody, Steven, that's so great. No, bullshit.
We need the bad guy back in the fold. That's how this works.
Right.
It's like good cop, bad cop. Sometimes we switch, sometimes we don't.
Yeah.
But it's good to have you back, man. And, you know, I'm going to brag on you. This guy, he has a sweet new ride, and it reminded me of Bill Paxton's truck in Twister, the red Dodge Ram. That's the first thing that I thought of whenever I saw that. I was like, man, you got to put some Dorothy's in that bad boy.
That's what I'll be for Halloween.
Yeah,
drive the kids around like that.
Can I be Helen Hunt? I'll
Absolutely.
put on a blonde wig. So, okay, well, you know, aside from all that stuff, you know, you've been pretty busy, man, and things are just rolling along. And I think that the show's been doing really good, and I'm glad that you're back. But on this episode, we have been putting off our top 10 favorite movies from 2023 on purpose, mind you, because in January, people always drop their top 10 movies of 2023. I mean, they come in droves. A lot of podcasts that I listen to are constantly dropping their top 10s. And there was one week, man, where I was listening to about 3 shows, and all 3 of them for the week were top 10 movies of 2023. So I thought, you know, let's just go ahead and do ours closer to Oscar season. And also, let's do it closer to awards season because, you know, we've already passed the Golden Globes. We just had the SAG Awards. We just had the Independent Spirit Awards. And Oscars, man, they're coming up next week. So I felt like this would be a good time to go ahead and do that as well. So we are going to be ranking our top 10 favorite films of 2023. And I'm pretty sure we might have some overlap. We may not. You never know. We always do. But that's the thing about our show, man. Every year we have like maybe 1 or 2 that are the same, but everything else is drastically different. And I think that's great because that really goes to show our own personal preference in film, our taste in movies, the weird shit that I like is always shared by the stuff that you like. But before doing so, we're going to go into our regular topics. The first being our recently watched. So, Chris, in your absence, man, please tell me some good things that you've been watching.
Oh, man, I wish I could tell you I've been just sitting around watching TV, but it has been a busy month. And I've gotten to watch a couple things. Not a lot, but a couple things. Starting with, I finally sat down and I watched Maestro.
Oh, the Bradley Cooper.
The Bradley Cooper movie.
Yeah.
Not too bad. For me, it was a little slow paced, but I mean, given the premise of the movie, you can see how it would be that way. So going into it, I was ready for it, but man, I can see why it's up for Oscars. It is a brilliantly acted movie. Bradley Cooper, of course, is amazing. Storyline is good. Like I said, just a little slow to me, but I mean, if you go into it expecting that, you'll be fine. I mean, it's a beautiful movie.
Could you get past his prosthetic nose that everybody seems to be talking about?
Man, I didn't even notice. Didn't even notice.
Nosed
people. Oh my gosh. Anyway, people.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Jeez. to me, people are just too picky, man. Like, just
Yeah,
watch the damn movie. Who
sure.
cares about his damn nose? He's an amazing actor. Just take it for that, you
Hmm.
know? So that was one that I watched. I also started a couple shows on Netflix. I started second season of the He-Man
Mm,
Revolution
yes.
from Kevin Smith.
Hmm.
Man, that is so good.
Yes, it is.
If you like He-Man, if you liked the first season, this picks up right where that one left off. The animation is great. Voice
Hmm.
acting is good. Um, it's a good storyline. If you like He-Man, I mean, even if you don't like He-Man, this is a good one to get into if you're into the animated superhero type of animation stuff.
Hmm.
So I really like that one for sure. I started my fourth season. I think it's the fourth season of Warrior from HBO Max. I've
Oh,
been
okay.
putting that one off for a little while, but still one of the best shows on HBO Max in my opinion,
Hmm.
for sure. Started watching that one because I know that new FX show Shogun is about to
Oh
start.
yeah. I was
So
gonna
I had to
ask you about that.
get into that mood,
Yeah,
because I think that one's going to be really, really good. So
it does
can't
look
wait
really
till
good.
that one drops. And then this one, uh, last one that I really started was The Last Airbender.
Oh.
And man, okay, I've seen so many people react to this show. Me and my sister have when she was young and I would babysit her at my house, I'd make her sit down and watch the show with me. So we kind of this is our thing. The Last Airbender is a me and her thing, and so we were super excited to watch this live action, especially after watching the trailers. You
Mhm.
start watching the trailers, you if you're a fan of Avatar, like it's just to see it in live action is just so freaking amazing. And then when the show dropped, so many people are hating on it.
Hmm.
And I'm like, why? So started it, of course. And I honestly, man, I don't get it. There are these enthusiasts, these diehards that are like, no, they should have been this way, and the character should have done this, and they should have followed more to the cartoon. And to those people, I want to say, look, okay, the more you hate on this shit, the more that you just find every little nitpicky thing to complain about, they're not going to give us more. If you sit here and just dog on everything that they do, we will never ever get more live action makes, because why spend all that money when people are just going to hate on it? Obviously,
Right.
there are some people out there that really love it. I am one of them, because you have to go into this thing. First of all, it's not going to be exactly like the cartoon. Cartoons can get away with our animation. We'll say animation. It's a little, but they can get away with so much more story. There's multiple episodes. They've got to pack all this season one into 8 episodes, because if they were to make a 20 episode run, good lord, they'd never recover that money.
Right. Yeah.
With like, it would be stupid. So okay, let's do everything we can in these 8 episodes with our budget, and more than likely, it's a huge budget. The visual effects are really damn good.
Hmm.
Given there's some CGI that isn't perfect, but hell, what? There's maybe a handful of movies that you can say have perfect CGI. And some of them are huge budgeted movies that have shitty CGI, i.e., Batman versus Superman. Like, some of that shit was really, really bad. But,
What?
oh, sorry, Steven. Apologize. But come on, guys, just go into it. with an open mind. Yes, they have to change the story. Yes, it's a live action, so of course they're going to bring more drama than a kid's cartoon where it's whimsical and this and that. If these actors acted like cartoon characters, we'd be on the flip side saying, oh, they're too damn cheesy, they're over the top acting. So there's no pleasing you. Just enjoy it for what it is. Enjoy the visuals. Enjoy, there's part of this story in the live action that you don't get in the cartoon. They explain a little more backstory in the very first couple of episodes, which is amazing to me because I'm like, oh shit, I didn't know this is how this played out or why this happened. And they went into that. And then they show, like, in these couple scenes, they show how brutal the Fire Nation was. They show these people burning folks up, man, and it's brutal. Like, now you get a sense of why they're so feared. Now you get a sense of why everybody is so scared of them, when you can't really do that in a Nickelodeon cartoon. So just enjoy it. Just enjoy it for what it is. Please quit nitpicking at this thing, because I need the second and third season
Yeah.
of it. So
Well, you're talking about a lot of fandoms too. A lot of people really can't separate one medium from the other. You got comic books, you got movies, you got books. Just Harry Potter's different in the movie. Yeah, no shit, because you can't fit 500 pages in a 2.5 hour movie. It's just alterations are going to have to be made. And what would people prefer? The M. Night Shyamalan Last Airbender again? I mean, as far as I could tell, that one was way off the rails, and everybody hated that. Like, you couldn't even appeal to mainstream audiences who had never seen the cartoon before. So it's just like, that failed on all counts. But this one, from a visual standpoint, it looked really good. I did like what you said about sometimes they put in a lot of money for the budget for the CGI, and sometimes they kind of miss out on some of the story points. I think the Rings of Power is somewhat similar to that problem, where that's the most expensive show ever made. Like, they've already established that it was like close to $2 billion to produce that show, and nobody really watched it. Not as many people as they thought. Amazon Prime was expecting a Game of Thrones style water cooler discussion over that show. Like, everybody was going to watch it and everybody was going to talk about it. But dude, I don't really know anybody who even watched it, period. And that's a lot of money to be investing in. And so I don't know. I'm going to watch it. I'm not too familiar with the cartoon. I've watched a handful of episodes. I know the lore, the backstory of some of that stuff. And but I'm at the trailer for the Netflix series looked cool to me. But then again, I'm not one of these purists of the original series. So maybe that is who it appeals to. Who knows?
Maybe. And man, like I tell you, like, you'll being somebody coming in off of it pretty fresh, like, you'll get some backstory that we never got when we were watching his cartoons, which is great. And I know we like to watch TV and movies, like, that's our deal. But for people that don't have a lot of time and they want to rush through something or binge something, these 8 episodes, you're going to get a very good taste of what the animation was about, the cartoon was about. Like, yeah, you'll rush through a bunch of it, but then maybe that's going to draw people to be like, okay, maybe I want to watch more and see more of this develop, and then go back and watch the cartoon some more. Yeah. Who knows? But I mean, just, I hate all the hate going on with it, and it pisses me off. But shout out, though, for sure, to actress Arden Cho. Amarillo Born plays a pretty major role in the Avatar series, which is pretty cool. So, Arden Cho, if you're listening ever, hey, come on the show. Let's talk about Amarillo and
that's crazy.
Your accolades, ma'am.
That would be really cool, actually. I didn't realize that an Amarillo native was in the show. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, not just like a background character. She's one of the
main characters.
Like a main character in it. Awesome. Is pretty cool.
We'll have to reach out to her for sure. But like you said, if you're listening, welcome aboard. So, you watch anything else?
Man, that's about it. With my busy schedule, I've been going. So that's all I've had time for in this last 3 weeks.
Sounds good, man. All right, well, let me go ahead and knock my stuff out here. I'm going to start with some television series. The True Detective Night Country fourth season that's finally come to a conclusion. I thought it was really good. I thought the ending was really good. I thought that I don't want to spoil it too much because I know a lot of people are probably still watching it, but they really give you a this kind of idea of supernatural occurrences in the season, which I thought was a little odd because True Detective's never really been about that. It's been about like urban lore and
Hmm.
kind of area situations that might come off as cultish, but never anything supernatural. So I think that how they handled that in this particular season of Night Country, I thought that was really good. And do have a little early headline that Night Country, they're going to be renewing True Detective for another season, obviously, but I don't know. I think they were talking about continuing on with this particular case, like this Night Country. They were saying, well,
Oh.
this is kind of a spin-off of the True Detective series because if you notice, all the previous True Detective seasons didn't have a sub name. This is the first
Hmm.
time that it had a sub name. So they're saying, well, this is kind of its own spin-off version of True Detective. So they're saying that there might be a season 2, and if that's the case, I'm down for it, man. I
Nice.
thought it was good. Jodie Foster was great in that. I thought she was really good because she was playing somewhat against type. Like she always seemed like to be the heroine, the kind
Hmm.
of battered and beat up one, like a little more on the how would I say it? Like not sensitive side, but just kind of more demure and more not very imposing. But in this one, man, she came on full force. She kind of reminded me a lot of Kate Winslet in Mayor of Easttown. How she was very
Oh,
abrasive,
nice.
very
Yeah.
vocal, very sexual, and just like everything. She was just kind of a take
Jodie
charge, go get him.
Foster was sexual
Oh
in the show?
yeah, oh yeah.
Oh.
But it's like she,
Hello,
I mean,
Jodie.
take charge type of character, and I really liked her performance in that show. And Guillermo del Toro apparently helped create the Ice Corpse, um, the group, the corpse of all the
Oh, I
men.
saw that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and we
yeah, yeah. I
posted it
saw
on our
that.
socials. I was like, damn, that's
Hmm.
so cool, and it makes a lot of sense how Guillermo del Toro's influence could be on that. But I highly recommend True Detective Night Country. You don't have to see the previous seasons because every single one of them it's its own little story.
Hmm.
I watched this one on Hulu called Captive Audience, and basically what it was, it's a three-part miniseries about, I don't know if you remember that miniseries that came out when we were kids called All I Know Is My First Name Is Steven. And I always remember that as a little kid because it's about a kid that gets abducted, right? And his abductor takes him in and raises him for like the next 7 years, and then he just escapes and goes back home. So when he goes back home, he's a teenager, right? Because he was 7, now he's 14. He's a little older,
Hmm.
and it's just like the re-emergence into his life. And this was it was a true story. So the miniseries is based off a true story. So this miniseries on Hulu, it was basically showing the accounts of all that. That was really good, dude. I don't know why, but I kind of went down a catfish hole again. Like I was
Uh-oh.
watching old episodes of Catfish, and I don't know why. It's just so engaging, that
with
stuff.
with Never Neve?
Neve and Max, and apparently he has a new,
Really?
yeah, and he has a new co-host. So I was like, I don't remember her, and I guess she's in the newer
Hmm.
season. So I was like, I got to work up to the new seasons. I must not have watched any of those, or I must have dropped off, because how many times are you gonna watch like someone get duped and it not being the same person? Just one time. I actually want the catfish and the catfish the catfisher, the catfish I don't know what the caught. Like I want them to actually look at each other and be like, you know what? I do love you. I do want to be with you. Like just one time. I want it to be a happy ending, but it
You
rarely
you
is.
know what that's called, right?
No, what is that?
There's a show that they do that shit.
You're kidding me.
Yeah, it's called Love Is Blind.
Oh shit! I've been watching some TikToks on that show, man. I'm
Dude.
I'm kind of tempted to kind of pull in an episode or two. I did see this one that was just going viral on TikTok about the dude that is with that girl who says she looks like Megan Fox or something, right?
Yes,
And
see?
and
Catfish.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, well, no, but I mean, yes, let's all compare ourselves to Megan Fox. You know, I mean, if you're gonna compare yourself to someone, but and even the guy, he's such a yokel. He's like, you do? Oh wow, you know, and then he sees her, and she's just like, well, you're definitely not Megan Fox. And then I don't know. I was just kind of looking at that show, and I don't think I could really invest too much time into
No,
it.
don't
But
because
I probably won't.
no, don't do it.
There is another show that I watched, and it was Slow Horses, the Gary Oldman British series on Apple Plus. So good. It's absolutely just such a riveting show. It's only 6 episodes a season. There's 3 seasons out there. That's true British TV too, man. BBC style. They always wrap everything up really quick. And I think it's good for the story to keep it that tight knit because it allows you to compress so much more information in such a shorter period of time, which makes for a good fast-paced story. You know, and this last season of Slow Horses, which was season 3, it's so good. The last 2 episodes are the best of that entire series so far. And I know that it's already aired in the BBC, so I might fire up that VPN and see if we can find season 4.
There you go.
Because Apple Plus gets it, I think, 6 months after it's completed airing in the BBC. I think that's kind of how they work that little partnership out. But if they're already out there, man, I'm going to go hunt for it because, oh, dude, I didn't watch it, but I wanted to get your take on this. The Yolanda story.
I watched it.
Oh, you didn't bring that up?
I totally forgot.
Hell?
Sorry.
That's why you got to take notes, Chris. Well, I'm glad I remember.
I know.
Dude,
yeah.
I didn't watch it, and I refuse to watch it. I was so sickened by this concept of just pure trash TV. I think it's
I don't know, man.
What do you not know? Please tell me. What do you not know? I have to hear this.
Here's the deal. Okay. 100% Yolanda should be in jail. 100% she killed Selena. I'm not denying that fact.
Okay.
That did happen. What's coming to light is maybe some other shady shit that happened around all of it and why she felt the need to do it. Because from what we've always been told and always seen is she was just some crazed lunatic fan that got jealous of Selena stole money and this and that. And I'm not, in no way am I trying to give credibility to her and this or that. No, she should be rotting in jail. She should not get parole coming up soon. Absolutely not. But I think Selena's dad had a lot to do with why she took those actions that nobody's talking about.
But why would her father have her kill? I mean, that's her cash cow. Like, that's all he did was raise those kids.
No, not having Selena killed, but like drove Yolanda to be so scared and so like just crazy that Yolanda thought that's what she had to do to protect her life.
But that's a major stretch, man. That's like saying,
watch the show, bro.
I'm not going to watch that shit. For one, it's produced by the lowest common denominator of television. Anytime that they're going to it's the same company that took the Screech Saved by the Bell bullshit adaptation of the biography of all of their lives. And they said, okay, well, we're going to make this a show and then turn it for gospel. Because, I guess Peacock picked it up, which, ratings are ratings and sensationalism sells more. I get I understand why they're making it. I just don't support it. And even the fact that, like, okay. And then I saw like a clip on TikTok about something where she's like, oh, I was just holding the gun and it accidentally went off. What the hell do you have a gun on her for anyway? Like, why do you have a gun around her?
Because the dad told her, I'm going to kill you.
He's going to kill Yolanda. Okay, then go kill the dad.
Yolanda.
Then go shoot the dad. Shoot Abraham.
Abraham wasn't there.
Selena I'll kill his daughter instead. That makes no sense. What you said about
watch the show, bro.
No, I'm not gonna watch that shit. I'm not gonna watch it.
I'm not really gonna because it's just part 1. There's
Are you a representative of Yolanda's counsel? Are
No,
you on
I'm
a payroll right now, Chris?
I'm telling you, I think she's guilty and she should never get out of
Well,
prison.
so then why? Then what's the
Don't
discussion
stray
here?
that fact. The discussion is that there's were other factors at play
Okay,
that
motivations aside, I saw the trailer and I was like, now it's time to hear Yolanda's side of the story. I was like, what's her side? She wanted to poison her instead of shoot her point blank. I don't get it, but I don't know. I just saw that and I was like, no, hell no, this is disgusting. I hate it. And it's like you said, if she's up for parole this year and she
she shouldn't
somehow
get out. No.
well, I think that by presenting a case like this, you put an air of doubt in the public eye, and it makes people think, okay, well, maybe she was drove to this by her dad, as per your own words. And when she does get paroled, the courts could say, okay, well, if these are the motivating factors, then we can reestablish a line of maybe lack of insanity or whatever her mental state. If she's at it, because you can really play into the level of mental state nowadays, because people really play that up in a lot of courts, and they really take advantage of that notion nowadays. It's like somebody can go in and kill a whole bunch of people, claim a mental irrationality, and then they don't have to serve hard time. They can go to a padded room and not have to worry about being thrown into some kind of hard prison or stuff like that. But in her case, it's almost the opposite, where maybe they want to present this to where her parole could be granted. And I think that's why they're really fast. Because is he still alive? Selena's dad?
I believe so. I'm not.
Has he made any kind of comment on the show or anything?
From at the end of this first part, it said at the end that they reached out and he denied.
Well, I mean, he's got to be pretty old now, but I can't imagine Selena's estate, because there has to be some kind of estate established for her in terms of her record sales, because she still sells a lot. I mean, she's still very much in the pop culture public eye, and obviously, if her murderer is getting a show on, getting it distributed through Peacock, her name is still pretty prevalent. So I wonder. I'm gonna look that up and see what they think of that.
And it's crazy because they interview some of Yolanda's family.
Yeah.
And they're all like, they put a case out there for her. Do I believe them? No. Do I believe them? No.
Oh,
do I believe?
Oh,
no. I don't believe them. Yeah, pretty much. No, watch the show, bro.
I'm not gonna watch. I'll take your word for it. I'll find some kind of TikTok, because no, I'm not gonna give it a ratings bump. What did it initially come on? I already forgot the.
What was
not
it on?
Not Hallmark.
Hallmark.
It was the
Christmas special.
The gift of Yolanda's interview.
That's right.
Yeah, man, I saw that. I was like, oh hell no, this is disgusting. I can't believe it. But I guess then I kind of took a step back and saying, well, they do interview hardened serial killers, but I think a lot of that, people really want to get into the psyche of some of these individuals and kind of break down what it is that made them do it. And it's just, I don't know. I might take a peek, but good Lord, that's something else. But so on my watch list, I did not watch Yolanda's side of the story, but aside from that, I did watch a couple of movies, and one of them was Anyone But You, the Glenn Powell, Sydney Sweeney movie. I thought it was cute. It's not going to fall in any kind of top 10 rom-com movies of all time. It kind of reminded me a little bit of How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, in the sense that he's about 10 years older than her. And she's like, I don't know, when they're together, when they're separated, right, and doing their own thing in the movie, they're standing tall on their own. But when they're together, I'm looking at them and I'm like, dude, she almost looks like your daughter in some cases. It's really weird. But I know she's in her mid-20s and he's in his late 30s. I think he's, like I said, 9 years older. And it's like How to Lose a Guy. Matthew McConaughey was about 10 years older. Well, he still is 10 years older than Kate Hudson. But I don't know. They didn't look so different from one another. They look closer in age than Glenn Powell and Sydney Sweeney do. But I thought it was cute. Nothing to go home about.
What do you think about Sydney Sweeney, man? I know she is a big deal right now.
Yeah, I don't. I think I think she's very sexualized, to be honest with you. And I think
Because of
that
Euphoria.
right, exactly. Like I still haven't watched Euphoria. I've been told to watch
Don't.
it. I mean,
Oh
I
my god,
I,
this is
I
bad,
heard it was
dude.
pretty nasty, but I also hear that there's a lot of um credibility to the film or to the show because the acting is so good. Like I heard Zendaya's perform. I heard the acting in general is just really good on that
Zendaya
show.
is really good in that
Right.
show. I mean,
So
if you could get past the like real, there's hard
sure,
sexual content in it,
you know,
but
none of that stuff ever bothers me. But I mean, when they're being performed as kids, I mean, I know they're
that's
not
what I'm talking
kids.
about.
They're all
But
of age, but
they're
they're playing
portraying
teenagers.
kids.
Yeah, that's kind of
Yeah.
different. And I would feel weird sitting there watching it all by myself. I'm like, oh man, this is
Hmm.
interesting. But from a cinephile or someone who enjoys credited TV, acclaimed shows, I'm still on the
Right.
back burner. I still want to watch it, but that's kind of the one hesitancy. But as far as Sydney Sweeney, I mean that's kind of the thing that I think she gets really overly sexualized because of that show. And I know she does a lot of risque scenes in that show. Again, never seen
Hmm.
it, so I'm not entirely sure, but I'm pretty sure she's like doing nude scenes in the show. I mean that's kind of like
Yeah.
they make reference to her endowed chest, if you will, and just stuff like
Hmm.
that. And even in Anyone But You, like you can tell that she's very developed. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, because they kind of
Wardrobe
sexualize
really
it.
plays off of
Yeah,
her.
exactly. So
Yeah.
you're watching Anyone But You, and it's funny because even my daughter, I asked her, I was like, "Did you watch Anyone But You yet?" She's like, "No, I don't want Luke to look at Sydney Sweeney." And I was like, "Well, yeah, that makes sense because she's in a bikini a lot of that movie." But I was like, "Hey, but Glenn Powell, he's representing for the bros. Like he's a fit ass dude, and he's
Hmm.
shredded, kind of like me. This has been
Okay.
well established, but." But again, I don't really know enough of her or her filmography to really make a really good assessment. I in Handmaid's Tale, she had a small part in that, and she was a lot
Hmm.
younger. She played one of the young wives in that, and it was sad her role in that. But I thought she did a really good job in that. And
Hmm.
again, she's got a lot of charisma, a lot of charm, and same thing with Glenn Powell. I think that they even made an announcement today that they had so much fun working together that they would love to do more stuff together. And I think that would be good because they have a really great chemistry with one another. And I did see another movie that made me think of this, that Madam Web, which also featured Sydney Sweeney.
Ew.
And I made a post about it, but I've got to say, man, people are just trashing this movie. Even Dakota Johnson's trashing this movie, and honestly, it's not as bad as people are making it out to be. It's not good. I mean, it's not great, but I've seen far worse. Way worse than what they presented in this movie. And for example, I think the problem with it, one of the major problems, is the marketing team. Like, for example, if you're a Sydney Sweeney fan, they had no problem showing her in her Spider Woman costume, right? If you watch the
Hmm.
trailers, you see them all decked out in their Spider Women costumes, and dude, that's literally like 30 seconds in the entire movie. It's kind of like
Wow.
a vision, or a vision of the future, like Madam Web. She's clairvoyant in all things,
Hmm.
space and time. And I was just like, man, if that was your expectation to come in and see these young women as superheroes, then you were very disappointed. But I don't know what really happened with that movie. Apparently, there was a lot of on-set script rewrites, and Dakota Johnson apparently fired her agent because of the debacle. And
Oh
I'm kind
damn.
of thinking, well, you read the script, and even if you're getting script rewrites, you can always question stuff. But then again, if she's locked in a contract, there's really little she can do. And it's
Hmm.
also something that one of my friends, Albie, had made a comment on one of the posts. He said, "I think it's hilarious how they told the cast they were going to be part of the MCU." So they said that they were going to integrate them into the MCU because it's the Sony brand. Like, this isn't the
Right.
Marvel brand, the Disney Marvel. This is Sony, the ones that did the Venom movies. Morbius, Craven the Hunter's probably gonna die pretty soon when it comes out. And
Hmm.
yes, you can make the argument that Spider-Man, Tom Holland, was done under the Sony banner, but you can't really give it all the legitimacy to Sony because Disney had every much to do with the creative aspect of that. They just kind of licensed it out and they made all the money from it. So yeah, that's a pretty happy marriage. But I don't know. Madam Web is the lowest grossing Marvel movie I think ever, and it just died at the box office. I think it's only made like 36 million.
Do you think the reason for its like huge downfall and huge these crowds of people just hating on it is more of a mob mentality?
Absolutely.
Like, oh, if he says it's bad, and then I'll watch it and think it's bad too.
Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right. Yes, that's exactly what I think. You hit the nail on the head because, again, I'm watching and I'm thinking, I think people are just really loving the fact that they're hating on something. Like there's a collective hate. You can have a collective love for something, but every much so to the flip of that, you can have a collective hate for something. And sometimes it's just fun to jump on the bandwagon of shitting on something. And this case, it's how bad Madam Web is. But you're absolutely correct. Where I think a lot of people are just trashing it because, oh, that's kind of the fun thing to do right now. And yes, there are goofy, cringy scenes in it. And there's a scene where she's a Cassandra Webb, Dakota Johnson, she plays an EMT, right? So she's hiding these three girls out because there's this other guy who's trying to kill them because he sees into the future that they're all going to kill him, and he's got this arachnid spider power, and like there's this just random scene where they're hiding out at a hotel where she's showing the three girls how to do CPR chest compressions, and if you get tired, switch up, so they're like the three girls are taking turns doing the chest compressions, and I'm thinking, this is really dumb. So clearly you're telegraphing where all three of these girls are going to have to do a CPR chest compression. And yeah, you did at the end to save Madam Web. And I'm like, this is so dumb. Like, how random and dumb is this? It's stuff like that that kind of makes the movie look bad. But again, nothing to denounce the entire film, like to make it seem like the worst movie of all time. I don't know what that would be off the top of my head, but I thought
The Room.
Dude, okay, you do bring up The Room though. I mean, that is a good point. But there are some movies that are so bad that they can come off entertaining. Good. Yeah, like in a comedic sense. This isn't one of those movies. It's just kind of you're like, oh, this is just kind of lame, kind of not fun to even make fun of, even though people have tried on TikTok.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, Madam Web, I'd wait until the Disney Plus or wherever Sony's going to distribute it. I don't know if they ever will again, but I did watch this one movie on Shudder called Suitable Flesh, and it's from this horror director named Joe Lynch. Joe Lynch has got a pretty good pedigree of independent horror films. Dude, this movie was crazy. It has Heather Graham. She plays this psychologist who ends up doing this weird like body swap with one of her patients, and there's like the sexual stimulation of it, and it's not as like graphic as you would think, but it's just like this weird body swap H.P. Lovecraft type horror flick that was really good. Barbara Crampton from Reanimator is in it. She's another therapist that gets entangled into this whole weird thing. If you like horror, you like body swap, you like H.P. Lovecraft, I highly recommend Suitable Flesh.
I miss Heather Graham.
Dude,
I haven't heard that name in a long time.
And you know what's so funny about her is like I watched her Christmas movie with Jason Biggs a couple of months ago. That what was it, Best Christmas Ever or whatever the lame ass Netflix title of it was. It was kind of cute. It was the one with Brandy. Brandy was in it with her, and they were like best friends or something. I don't know. It was a cute little movie. But then, yeah, and then I see her in dude. She looks great, man. She's like in her 50s now, and I think she's close to her 50s. But yeah, she looks great. She did great, and I'm kind of like I'm ready for the Heather Graham resurgence. Felicity Shagwell or Amber Waves if you're a Boogie Nights fan. But yeah, I guess that was all that I watched. Had a couple of headlines, nothing too big, and I know that we better get on with the main topic. So because we've got a lot of movies to talk about. But the headlines here, I just wanted to talk about a couple of things, like the SAG Awards named Oppenheimer Best Cast. Cillian Murphy won Best Actor, so I guess it's not too much of a surprise there. I did see that Robert Rodriguez is set to produce a new Faculty movie, the Faculty remake. Which, I don't know. I mean,
Bring Usher back, baby.
I wonder if that's what this is all about. I wonder if that's exactly what this is all about. Usher had a resurgence in the Super Bowl. He's going to be one of the teachers now. I think what would be cool though is if you did do something
roller skates.
He could be. They have a roller blading team, a roller jam team at the school.
There you
what I was
go.
saying is like, it would be kind of cool if the students were the teachers now. That is something that I could see. I like
that would be
continuity
cool.
like that. I like when
Yeah.
a reboot is also kind of a sequel, you know? Kind of like that new Ghostbusters movie. It looks great. Like, they're full on just brought everybody back. You're like, no cameos. You're just going to be part of the cast now. So I think, like, if they did do a faculty movie, I would want to see Elijah Wood, Josh Hartnett, Usher, you know, everybody come back, but then now they're the teachers. I think that would be kind of fun if they did pull something like that off, which I think they could, you know.
Usher would be the music teacher. Hartnett would be a gym coach.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's on, bro.
Dude, Elijah Wood could be the science teacher. Like, I mean, dude, this is I'm on board for the faculty, but only if that's what they do. If you get a brand new cast and crappy cameos, like, I don't want it. But and there were a couple trailers. You know, I wanted to get your thoughts on Wicked. You saw the Wicked trailer. That looks looks really good.
So good.
And
My
Twisters.
girl Ari.
Yeah, I mean, and then who's it? Cynthia Erivo, right? She's playing that it does look really good. I think that I don't know. I think Oz the Great and Powerful was the last time that they really tried to do a big budgeted kind of Oz type film, but Wicked has such a prominent place in pop culture that I think it'll be good as long as they stick to the script, and of course those women could sing masterfully. So I think it'll be good. Twisters, the sequel. You know, I'll have my reservations. I like Glenn Powell. I love Daisy Edgar Jones, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. You know,
from the trailers, man, it almost seems like a copy and paste.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy?
That's what gets me.
And you know what's crazy about the trailers, too, is that some of the CGI looks exactly like it did back in 1996.
Right?
I was like, aren't they supposed to have improvements on some of this stuff? But I guess not. So, but that looks okay. Roadhouse, what do you think of the Jake Gyllenhaal Roadhouse?
Ooh.
I think it's all
I'm
right.
interested.
Yeah,
I'm interested.
I think it's all right. I love Jake Gyllenhaal, and so I like that it's a completely different area. Like, they went out from the south, but they went down to Key West. They're in the beach. Conor McGregor, dude, is gonna chew the scenery up. So it's just like you couldn't ask for a better bad guy. And Doug Liman, the director of The Bourne Identity, Go, Swingers, The Edge of Tomorrow. Like, this dude's a great director, even though he's had a lot of problems with Amazon Prime. Apparently he put them on blast because they promised him a theatrical run of this Roadhouse remake, and they're like, no, we're going to just straight to streaming, and he is pissed. So he's gone like torching them all, but we'll see how that resolves. But I think that movie looks okay. Yeah, I guess that was it for the headlines. Just a couple of little things. So speaking of those,
I got headlines.
One. All right, yeah, let's go. Let's
go
for it.
And it's not really headlines. It's what I kind of talked about at the beginning of the show, where I got just a couple of little beefs I got with you.
Oh, here they are. Okay. Sideswiped.
First of all,
yes, sir.
John Lee Brody. Hey, thanks for coming on to the show, man.
Yep.
I listened to it. It was a great show until Steven forgot to mention one of my favorite rom-coms of all time ever, 100 Girls. I know we've talked about this, and even before they hit the record button, I was like, Steven, you just got to at least say, hey, Chris wants to give a shout-out to this movie. And so I'm listening to the whole episode, and I'm waiting, and it doesn't happen.
Sure didn't.
What the fuck happened, bro?
I mentioned 8 days a week. That would have been.
It's not the same.
That would have been a perfect conduit too. And I don't know what happened there, but I'm pretty sure I was going to mention it, especially when I was talking about 8 days a week. But I don't know. I don't know what I just flogged in the brain. But 100 Girls. I mean, another reason why I didn't mention it is because it's a garbage ass movie and has nowhere near.
Fight you right now.
It has nowhere near my list, so I didn't want to ruin the pristine nature of my list. Okay, I'm just kidding. 100 Girls is actually a really funny movie, and I think it's streaming on Prime, or I saw it streaming somewhere, and I think it isn't
streamed anywhere in forever.
Yeah,
so,
I think it's back on Prime because I know 8 days a week is on Peacock, but I think 100 Girls is on Prime, and again, that is a really funny movie. But man, you want to talk about raunch? Boy, that one comes in droves. But
Yeah.
in a heartfelt way. But I thought you were gonna
And-
say, well, oh, go ahead. You said and, so here we go.
oh, I was gonna say my second beef, but go finish this, and
That's
then we'll
it.
go on to
No,
the
that's
next.
it. I'm done.
Okay.
I'm done.
And my second beef is with Miss Erica. Okay, the episode after John Lee Brody's, and we're talking Valentine's,
Yeah.
and you guys still go after horror. All right, when is the episode going to be when we have Erica on and we talk about happy movies and nice movies? Like, I understand her nickname is Erica Halloween. Totally respect it. Get it?
Yeah, that's
But
it.
come on, man. There has to be something to counterbalance stuff.
Her name's not Erica Care Bear.
No, then she would not like horror. But I'm saying there has to be some sort of balance. And I even talked to her. And I was like, hey, you got to watch some nice movies this month. It's February. She goes, oh, yeah, I will. Apparently not.
Well, her nice movies were the My Bloody Valentine double feature. I was thinking we could do a challenge. That's what I watched too. I watched the challenge finale. I thought it was good. People that won, I was good with. Kind of wish Nerese would have won the whole thing after everything she had gone through that season. But yeah, we could do a challenge podcast just for you, Chris, next season.
Next season.
Anyway,
after it's over.
Did you
2
have any
days
more
later.
beefs? Beef?
No, that's it.
You know what? I thought this was going to be beef season 2 right here. But which
No, we're
also
done.
won
We can
SAG
move on.
awards. The SAG, man, they cleaned
Yes,
up.
it did.
Did you notice that? I guess this is kind of one last headline, but they made a note that Beef season 2 has a whole new cast, and it has Gyllenhaal and Anne Hathaway in it.
Oh, if they do like White Lotus and like just a new storyline every season,
That's
but
apparently what it's going to be because.
I love it.
Yeah,
That's
and it
awesome.
makes sense after the ending of the first one too when you think about
Yeah.
it. But yeah, that's cool. Okay, back to business. Our top 10 movies of last year. Now we're running a little bit late, so we're not going to really go into too much detail of all these movies. And you know what? If they're making our top 10 list, we've probably talked about them in length anyway. So there's really
Absolutely.
no need to express too much desire to go into detail. But okay, so I'll go ahead and I'll start my number 10, my top 10 of 2023. I'm going to start with the Netflix original film, They Cloned Tyrone. Now, this movie, directed by Joel Taylor, stars John Boyega, Jamie Foxx, and Teyonah Parris. And this movie, when I first started it, I mean, with a title like that, you know that you're in for some bit of sci-fi antics. But then I start the movie, and I'm like, wow, this looks like a blaxploitation flick from the 70s. Just how it's shot, how everything looks, the color filters, and I thought, man, the music, this is super fly. It looks so great, and I am a huge fan of the blaxploitation film franchise, the blaxploitation era of films. So I'm watching this, and then all of a sudden, this crazy, just sub genre of sci-fi kicks in, where they're cloning people, and then it has this just amazing throwback to like old Twilight Zone episodes of social commentary where something crazy is happening to a group of people, and in this case it's a group of people that are having an ethnic minority subset and subculture killing each other through experimentation, and every time they die they bring one of them back in, hence cloning Tyrone. And dude, I just absolutely love that movie. I thought it was so original, so creative, and just how it looked, and it would have fit perfectly in that episode that we did a couple of months ago about hybrid films. You know, you take two things and put it together. And a lot of people probably wouldn't assume Superfly or Shaft going into a sci-fi route. Obviously, nobody would. But in this case, it does, and it's super successful in doing so. That is why number 10 is They Cloned Tyrone for me. So
nice. Still have yet to watch it, and I know we talked about it earlier, so I need to get on that.
Yeah, you'll love it. You'll love it. So you're number 10, sir.
My number 10 is a superhero movie. Go figure, but it is one that got a lot of hate, obviously, because it's a DC movie, but my number 10 is Blue Beetle.
Yay!
I really did love this movie, man. First all Hispanic cast. It was great. Hit a lot of Hispanic heritage notes that a lot of Hispanics really liked. I mean, well, I did. I'll put it that way. George Lopez was kind of out there a little bit, but I mean,
How many of our Theos aren't, bro?
I was about to say who doesn't have that crazy Theo that's just like him? Absolutely. Main character, I always botch his name, is Xylo Zolo.
Oh, YOLO.
Yolo. Did amazing as Jaime Reyes. Special effects were good. Story was okay, but I got on board. So that's why it's my number 10, Blue Beetle.
Can I just say real quick, and people can cancel me if they want to, but I think it's kind of selfish of you that you get to claim Mexican heritage and Asian heritage. Like, it's not fair that you're half and half because you get to play in both pools, and I can't.
Hey,
I can only play.
fine.
Yeah. Well, it's not. I'm just jealous.
I'm
is
down.
basically what.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well, you're number 9, sir.
All right, man. My number 9 is the end of the trilogy of Adonis Creed and Creed 3. The story just wraps up. I mean, I think this is it. I don't know if there's plans on making more, but if this is it, they wrapped it up beautifully. The story with Jonathan Majors, his best friend, coming back into his life and, challenging him, almost your Rocky 3-ish story. Played out amazing. Michael B. Jordan, great. Tessa Thompson, great. Boxing action, cinematography was so good. Just, it hit everything that you would really want in a Creed movie, and how to finish it up, and they finished it up great. So that's why it's my number 9.
Directorial debut too. So I mean,
that's
really
true.
follow in the footsteps of Stallone. Yeah, I love Creed 3. Number 9 for me is the Finland movie Sisu, directed by Jalmari Hollander, and it stars Jorma Tamilia. And Sisu is a state of mind, and in this case, this is basically the Nazi killing John Wick movie from Finland, and it's about a man who he basically worked for a extermination squad during World War II that hunt and killed Nazis. That was his specialty. Well, he's trying to live on the land, just trying to get away from the war, and it's kind of breaking down as far as World War II, but there's still a lot of Nazi regimes that can't let it go. They steal this man's gold that he's been working for, and it's basically like killing John Wick's dog. So they steal his gold, and he didn't like that. So he goes out and he basically wipes them all out. It's just such a badass action movie. John Wick Chapter 4 almost made the list, but it's in my honorable mentions, I guess. And I think that this movie, though, had more of an air of originality to it, in the sense that it looked like a great war movie, just an action epic war film, and I just absolutely loved it. So my number 9 was Sisu.
Nice.
My number 8 is another foreign film from Argentina, and it is the horror film When Evil Lurks, directed by Damien Rugna. And I haven't seen a horror film this viscerally just gruesome in quite a while. This movie it's basically about demon possession in the Spanish countryside around Argentina, and these two brothers are resorting to going to this cabin, and it's not like a typical Evil Dead cabin in the woods. I think what really makes this movie so effective is just the violence in the movie is so shocking and just comes out of nowhere in some places, and I absolutely loved every moment of this movie. And there was a lot of hype going into it, and I thought, okay, Shudder's usually hit and miss too. Like, sometimes they'll have a really great movie, and I think they do come out every once or twice a year. They'll have like a truly masterful horror film, and When Evil Lurks was definitely one of those movies. And if you like that kind of movie, I highly recommend you go watch it. It's gruesome.
But Erica has watched it.
I don't know. I need to ask her, but it's a brutal movie. It's just such a great movie, and yeah, not a happy ending. I'm gonna go ahead and put that one out there. So,
I like those. That's
then
good.
you should watch it for sure. It's pretty intense, man. Yeah, I didn't know, but I'd put it out there if you did.
Okay.
But all right, so you're number 8, sir.
My number 8 is one that surprised even me that it's number 8, because how can a movie about shoes be so damn good?
Right.
And I'll tell you why. Because it's Matt Damon and Ben Affleck.
The Dunk Kings. It makes sense. Dunk Kings now.
Oh, it does. Damn them.
They're good.
They know how to do it all.
They're good. They're good, those kids.
But my number 8 is the movie Air.
Yes.
And like, you think about it, and really, how, like, you would never think in a million years that a movie about getting a shoe contract and getting a shoe made would be so damn good, but it is. Mm-hmm. And I mean, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, man, I tell you, they just know how to be together and be awesome.
Yeah.
And even like, okay, so the movie is about Jordans, and this movie is really good without actually having Michael Jordan in the movie,
right,
or showing him.
Right.
So, yeah, my number 8 is Air.
I loved what Viola Davis says in that movie. She has the best line where she's like, "Your shoe is just a shoe until my son steps his feet into them." I was like, damn, that's good. That is good. And, you know, Ben Affleck, he directed that one as well. And his you know, filmography it's small, but aside from Live by Night, I don't think that he's made a movie that hasn't been less than masterful. I love his work. I think this movie seemed very near and dear to their hearts for some odd reason. They don't really strike me as huge basketball fans coming from Boston. And but I agree. That movie's great. It's a great movie.
Yep. So my number 7?
Yes, sir.
All right, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Mutants of Mayhem.
Mutant Mayhem.
Man, they took an amazing play off of the Spider-Verse movies in the way they did their animation. Mm-hmm. I love that style of animation, and I think that's kind of what elevated this as well. Mm-hmm. Of course, you get a different, I mean, it's the same but different kind of characteristics with the Ninja Turtles. Mm-hmm. And they played them really, really well.
Yeah.
The voice acting was great. I loved it. The new April was great. Of course, the updated language, updated lingo, to current times and stuff. But man, I think I just love the Turtles too.
Yeah.
And then when you update them, ish, because some of the other earlier Mutant Ninja Turtles, like a couple of years back, not so well. But
yeah,
when you do it like this hits, and this is really good. And if you haven't seen it, go watch it, especially if you're a Ninja Turtle fan.
It's on Paramount Plus right now, actually.
Yep.
You know, when I watched it, April sounded very familiar to me, and it's Edo Edebiri who plays Sid in The Bear. So I was like, oh, that's why it sounded so familiar. Okay, great. That makes it even better now. And yeah, I absolutely loved it. And Jackie Chan as Master Splinter, how was that not perfect?
Perfect. Perfect.
He was and he was funny, man. I don't think Jackie Chan's been that funny, and I don't know. I can't think of anything. And in Rush Hour, he's not the funny guy in Rush Hour, but I just, yeah.
Dude, and how awesome is it that Rocksteady and Bebop is John Cena and Seth Rogen? Like,
it's so good.
Another just great casting.
Yeah.
Like,
it's so good.
Oh, man.
And I mean, it really plays to our generation. I mean, there's a whole beat down sequence to No Diggity, No Doubt. Like, come on,
right?
Man. Like, they know what they're doing. They know who they're playing to, and it was our generation. But they were also smart enough to do it for this current day generation, like what you were saying with the modern day lingo and stuff. And
yeah,
man, I agree. That's a good one. So my number 7 is the Apple Plus original film. And I watched a couple of good ones this year, and I think I have another one on my list, maybe not. But this one was Tetris. And you want to talk about Air, there was something very familiar with this. There was a lot of movies earlier this year, like Flamin' Hot,
Mm-hmm.
BlackBerry that were really the origin of some of the more popular products in pop culture history. And one of those was Tetris. And I didn't really know what to expect watching it, but it was really well done. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Argo. There was some espionage in this, and I don't know how true to life some of the events that took place in this movie are. I don't know how historically accurate they were, but it made for a really good movie. Basically, the creator of Tetris is a Russian scientist who, due to their communist state, isn't allowed to showcase his ability or sell it or do anything like that. So he gets Taron Egerton, Eggsy from Kingsman, to make a workaround. And there's a lot of business dealings and a lot of competitive nature. One company's trying to get the rights to distribute Tetris versus another. They become friends, and it was just such a really good movie. And there's just even like random chase scene at the end of the movie where I'm like, I don't know about all this, but whatever. Makes for a great movie. But I really loved it. Looked authentic as hell, and I highly suggest you watch Tetris. It's on Apple Plus. That was my number 7. My number 6, you're not gonna like it, Chris, but I can't help it. It was Barbie, movie that took the world by storm this year, highest grossing movie of the year, and rightfully so. It was from a production standpoint, an actor standpoint, director standpoint. It was. I mean, I don't know how you can not be impressed by the originality of this movie and how its visual looks came off. It's a doll. I mean, it's based off of an American iconic doll, and it came into this movie that had a lot of heart, had a lot of emotion, and the fact that Margot Robbie and Greta Gerwig were sidelined from the Oscars is still surprising to me, even though the movie got nominated Best Picture, you got nominated for script, you get all these major award nominations, but yet the director and the leading actress who carries the movie, I mean, arguably you could say Ken, but he's more of the comic relief. He gets a nomination. I don't know. It was just a really weird and bad look for the Oscars. It didn't make a lot of sense, but
Yeah.
Barbie, my number 6, loved it, watched it a couple of times, and I could watch it again. So, number 6, Barbie. What do you got?
All right. My number 6, I am going with. It's one that's getting all the accolades, and we talked about him earlier, but it is Oppenheimer. I didn't talk about this in my recently watched because I knew I was going to talk about it now, but I just watched it within the last 2 weeks, and I could see why.
Yeah.
It is a phenomenal movie. Christopher Nolan doing Christopher Nolan things. I love Cillian Murphy. Emily Blunt is good. Matt Damon's good. Robert Downey Jr.'s good. Like, I mean, just those 4, and you know you're going to have something worth something with them 4. And you throw in Christopher Nolan and his cinematic style and everything, and it's one that it's just a no-brainer. Just mentioning those 5 names, I don't care what the hell it's about. It's going to be amazing.
Sure.
And, you know, it didn't bomb.
Oh, shit. Welcome back, Chris. Hey, man, you're stealing my jokes, bro. Now I'm pissed.
Sorry, man. Sorry. I it was low-hanging fruit there, you know.
Or was that low-hanging? Oh, I thought you were talking about that scene where he's sitting there naked.
Oh, that too. But oh shit. See, and then now you can have him back.
Thank you. No, I agree about Oppenheimer. I'm going to be honest with you. I know we're only at number 5. It didn't make my top 10 at all.
Really?
And it's not because I don't think it was the best movie. I think what I like about our list, it's our favorite movies.
Right.
So the ones that we personally, I'm going to go ahead and put this out there before anybody throws a fit about how Oppenheimer didn't make my top 10. Let me tell you.
You're not a true cinephile if it didn't make your top 10.
Right, exactly. So I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. These movies are the movies that affected me the most. They're the ones that I love the most. And if I'm looking at things from a more technical perspective, yeah, I mean it's top 3 easy because it's a masterwork. It's a piece of art, and I think the sound, especially the sequence when they're testing the bomb for the first time, how it goes completely silent. I thought, wow, I was kind of blown away by that because you would think, oh my God, we're in IMAX, our ears are about to explode right now, and then it completely does the opposite, and you're like, what? Did I go deaf? What's going on? It was just such a great, impactful scene. But again, I still do think that it was a little bit longer than it could have. I mean, you could have trimmed off about 20 minutes on it. And the whole last end of it with the procedural, and it was fine. I think it loses a lot of its steam in that back end of the movie. And then the Florence Pugh stuff was a little odd, almost unnecessary, but it was fine, especially when you don't really establish her character and what she is or who she is or her motivations. It's just kind of weird. But I think, yeah, it's a top 10 technical film for sure. But on my personal list, didn't make it.
Fair enough. I respect your list, sir.
Thank you. As I respect your list, sir. So, but my number 5, or did you have any more on Oppenheimer?
Nope.
Okay.
We're good.
So my number 5 is a movie from one of my new favorite directors, Yorgos Lanthimos. My man, everything this dude makes, I'm in. And Poor Things is no exception to that rule. That movie is so crazy, and I loved every second of it. It does get a bit gratuitous in the sexual department, so if you're a little prudish or a little worrisome about watching a lot of sex in your movie, I would highly steer away from pretty much the middle section of that movie where she learns about prostitution.
Go watch Euphoria, you'll be fine.
Yeah, that's true. If you can watch that, you can watch this. But I thought that Killer and Lily Gladstone in Killers of the Flower Moon, which also didn't make my top 10. I thought she was a dead ringer for Best Actress of the Year. When I saw her in Killers, I was like, she's the best part of this whole movie. Like, she's so good. And then when I watched Poor Things, I thought, I take it back. Emma Stone is so good in this movie. And it's such a freakish film. I love that Yorgos gave a shout out to Bruce Springsteen at the Golden Globes, because he's like me. That's what I would have done. I'm winning a major award here. The Boss is right there. One of my favorite musicians of all time. I'm going to give a shout out to The Boss. Like, he's right. So I feel like we have another connection. Man, me and Yorgos, we just see things on the same creative spectrum. That's just how I'm kind of envisioning. But Poor Things, truly original film. I know it's based off of a book, but man, I didn't see anything else like that this year. And it's one of my top 10. Number 4 to be or my number 5 to be specific. So my number 4, go ahead and throw it out there. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Beautiful CGI, beautiful animation.
Hey, I want to say something.
Yeah, go ahead.
You didn't let me do my number 5.
Shit! I was just kidding about Spider-Man. That was 5A. Continue, Chris, with your number 5.
All right, so my number 5 is a couple of brothers trying to save a princess. Super Mario Brothers.
Well, I'm glad I'm sad that I missed that one.
I mean,
you're there for Peaches. We're all there for
100%. And why it didn't win, it hasn't won fucking awards yet.
It hasn't even been
Best
nominated.
Original song. Didn't it get nominated for Golden Globe?
Oh yeah, I guess it did.
For original song?
Yeah.
And it got beat out by some Barbie bullshit.
the Billie
Billie
Eilish song won. And I'm pretty sure it's going to win the Oscar too, but it didn't even get nominated for the
100%.
Oscar. I was going to ask you how pissed you were when you saw that. I was kind of pissed. I was like, what? You just robbed us all of Jack Black dressing up as Bowser. You know?
I know. But, man, it was everything that us OG Nintendo players wanted to see on a big screen. Chris Pratt, his weird accent, looked past it. He did fine.
Well, they explained it too, which was great.
Yeah. And I don't know, man. It's just so good. I think the nostalgia made it more than I think it really was,
I
honestly.
mean, maybe.
But it was a great movie.
Yeah,
I freaking loved it.
I don't think nostalgia had. I mean, it does have a part to play in it. Sure, I think that's why it
Hmm.
reached such a widespread audience. But in the end, you're not going to make as much money as it did if it's not good, because then people don't go back to see it, which a lot of people did. And I thought
Yeah.
it was great too. I thought visually it was wonderful to look at, and the voice actors were great. You know, Anya Taylor Joy also as the princess,
Yeah.
she was great. Yeah, I agree. I think that movie was a solid movie, really good.
Yep. Okay, so now you can go on to number four.
Number four is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Dun
No
dun dun.
surprise.
And you know, speaking of animation, this movie covers it all. It goes into multiverses, and in each world that Miles Morales ventures into, a different animation style, how it blended all together. And you know, a couple honorable mentions for animation, like Suzume and The Boy and the Heron. I didn't get to see The Boy and the Heron, Miyazaki's newest film, but I heard great things about it. But until I see that, I just have to stand by Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse as the best animated film of the year. It's kind of sweeping up the
Mm.
Oscars right now, or the award circuit right now. But it's just a beautiful palette, great voice acting, and the story was still good. The story was so engaging, and the twists. I mean, I was just so surprised by some of the twists that the movie took, and just impressed by all of it. And that's exactly why it's my 5A/4C movie. So, okay, Chris, you're number four, please, before I skip it again.
Not a problem. My number four boasts a jacked up cast in Zac Efron and Jeremy Allen White, man, in Iron Claw.
Yeah.
Um, Not the biggest wrestling fan,
Hmm.
like Steven over there, but I know the story of the Von Erichs. And the Von Erichs were my mom's favorite wrestling personalities when I was younger. And so it was interesting to find out more. I kind of knew what happened. I didn't know the full story behind the Von Erich family, but to watch this movie and just see everything that they went through, man, it is gut wrenching. And Zac Efron's great, Jeremy Allen's great, Harris Dixon, good. The brothers just, they could honestly be brothers. They may not look the same, but the way they interacted with each other, the way their chemistry on screen was, they were brothers, and it was really good. And if you want to cry at a movie, go watch Iron Claw.
I agree. And you know, I'll just go ahead and skip to my number three because it's the Iron Claw. And so we were pretty close to that one. And I
Yeah.
absolutely agree. It's an emotional powerhouse. And aside from Zac Efron looking like a buff Lord Farquaad, it was
That hair,
it was
man.
pretty rough, man.
Oh,
But you know, 80s style, you gotta embrace it. But man, the dude is just a jacked up piece of beef Wellington, man. Just I couldn't believe how
oh,
much mass he put on. And but as far as that goes, I guess if you're gonna be casted as a professional wrestler, you want to do your best to look the part. And I mean, he very much did. And just all of the I love movies like that because you know, as an avid wrestling fan,
mm,
like I like seeing behind the curtain, and I know kayfabe is done now, and everybody's like well beyond storyline. Like people could separate what's going on with the story and you know reasonably see it as fiction or just that entertainment, you know. But they
yeah,
still take the people out. And I think, but back in the day when they thought it was real, like I love how they ventured into that. I love how they talk about, oh, we can't talk about this, or no, we can't be in the same room together because you're a good guy and I'm a bad guy, this and that kind of stuff.
hmm,
I love that stuff. Um, there's a really good docuseries called Dark Side of the Ring. I believe it's streaming on Hulu right now, but it originally aired on Vice TV, and they did a story on the Von Erich family in one of the first seasons of the show. And new season starting March 4th, so I'm really excited about that. But they're the tragedy of the Von Erich family episode is really, really good. And this movie is really close to that, except for the fact that they missed out on the fifth brother. There was a fifth brother,
Yeah.
the little one, and David, and he died as well. And they asked director Sean Durkin, they're like, why didn't you involve the last brother? Like, well, it's an emotional roller coaster that we're putting you on. And honestly, if we felt like we put him in the movie, people wouldn't think it was true, because how much tragedy could one family face? And I'm like, yeah, I get that, but we're signing up for this, man. It's true.
Story,
Yeah, I'm like, we're signing up for this stuff. Like, give it to us. Like, we can handle it. You know, it's not like it's our family that we're it's happening to. We're just seeing the story being untold. So I kind of thought that was a little disrespectful in the sense of not putting him in there. But unless the Von Erich family had decided that they didn't want that to besmirch his memory. But yeah, but my number 3, Iron Claw. Good stuff, man. Best real movie, best wrestling movie since The Wrestler, probably because it's been the first one since. So,
yeah.
Right, you're number 3, sir.
My number 3, and I can say this proudly because I know it will not be on your list at all, my friend, because you are a hater of the Wonka.
Oh, God.
It's so good, it's number 3, Steven.
Yeah, I can see that. That's impressive.
It is good. I don't give a shit what you say.
Chris, it's actually number 1 on my list, to spoil it.
You're a damn
It's
liar.
number 1 on my most disappointing list. My shit list.
It gets no raspberries, my friend.
Yeah. You know, I kept saying Wonka 2 is going to be so good because that's the one that I wanted to see this time. So this is Willy Wonka and the Laundromat. That's what this one was. You know, I maybe I was a bit harsh on it, but I mean, like I said, I still think Chalamet was really good as Wonka. I think that he does a really good job in that. The music's still shit. But
I think they will hear the cries of the few.
Yeah.
And if number 2 does happen, I think you are going to be in for a treat with the music. I think.
I hope so. Well, you know, I think it will. I mean, it was a big hit. It made a lot of money, and universally speaking, it was a big, solid box office success. So, and I'm pretty sure Dune 2 coming out this upcoming weekend, it's really gonna propel Timothée Chalamet again, because you know he's taking front and center in that one, and I'm pretty sure that one's going to be a big hit because it looks amazing. And when that happens, like, they'll probably say, hey, we'll wheel you in a dough of money for a Wonka 2 because you'll be the leading star of that one. But, yeah.
All right.
So you're number 2.
You want me to go with number 2?
Yeah, go for it.
Number 2. My number 2 is foreign film. And I have just watched this recently. Again, I could have put it on my recently watched, but I went ahead and saved it for my number 2. And it is the movie Solar.
Wow.
Dude. Ever since RRR,
yeah,
I can't get enough of these movies, man.
Yeah.
They may be marathon movies, but they do not feel like it. And this one does not feel like it. 3 hours in, and it when it finally ends, and this is part 1, and it leaves you on a cliffhanger, and you're like, son of a bitch, I want more right now.
They couldn't wrap that up in 3 hours?
No.
My God.
Yes, and dude, the action, the storyline, the twist ending at the end is just insane, because they take you on this ride, they take you on this journey, and you know, just like those type of movies, of course some of it is outlandish,
Like the Bollywood style.
Yeah, the Bollywood style, and some of it is crazy. Like, you get this main character, Solar, he's punching people like Captain America.
Hell yeah.
Like they're flying through the air with just a simple punch. There's just one man taking on this freaking army of men and just meleeing the shit out of them. And it's amazing.
Just like you at
And
that Bush concert getting us up to the front, huh, Chris?
that's right, baby. But man, it's on Netflix right now.
Netflix, okay.
And I do have to shout out my brother Travis. He's the one that told me, "Hey, I saw this trailer for it. It kind of looks like that movie RRR you should watch this
You're
one."
like sold.
I was like, "Hell yeah, I'll watch it." I watched it that night. And dude, it is so good. I know there's a guest that we've had on this show before that has still yet to see RRR, and I refuse to speak to him on text until he watches it, Mr. Kevin.
I said, Kevin, you're not going to be able to come back on the show until you watched RRR. That's your only requirement, sir.
And now there's two he must watch.
Oh, no.
So that is my number 2, man. Salar.
Sounds good. My number 2 is the new film directed by Alexander Payne, starring Oscar frontrunner Paul Giamatti. I mean, it's basically come down to Paul Giamatti and Cillian Murphy, but I think Murphy's got it. But it is The Holdovers. The Holdovers is Alexander Payne's best movie in a decade. He's tried some stuff. Downsizing with Matt Damon was something that just did not work. I think his last Nebraska was good. That came out in 2007. So I wouldn't say in the last 10 years, but I think since Nebraska, he hadn't really done anything worthy of his ability. The Holdovers is more than worthy of his ability. It's a beautiful movie set in a time period in the 70s where these holdover students at this repertory academy, prestigious private school, like 3 or 4 of them have to stick around because they have nowhere to go over the holidays. Paul Giamatti gets assigned to watching them, and they befriend the cook who's there, played by Davine Joy Randolph, who, again, she's a front runner to be the best supporting actress. And great movie, how they all come together and bond. It's so funny. A lot of, in typical Payne style, there's a lot of really dark comedy embedded in some of the serious drama, and it just works on every account. And it's currently streaming on Peacock. So if you haven't seen The Holdovers, I highly recommend you watch it. So before we get into our number ones, Chris, do you have any honorable mentions you would like to mention? Mention
the honorable mentions. Not really, man.
Okay. So you narrowed
more of
it
a
down.
TV guy.
I got you. You got any? oh, well, we did do TV. I was like, did you see any?
We did.
What's your top 10? Okay. Well, I have a couple, and I pretty much named them already, and some of them were actually on your list, like Creed 3. Mentioned John Wick Chapter 4. No One Will Save You, that silent alien movie on Hulu. Love that. Love The Flash. Loved Air. Loved Blue Beetle. American Fiction, which is also nominated for a lot of Oscars this year, was really well done. I started watching All of Us Strangers with Andrew Scott and Paul Mescal on Hulu. I haven't gotten to finish it yet, but so far it's really good. I'm pretty sure it would fall into the top 10 so far just because of how heavy the emotion is and how great the acting is. And I'll have to talk a little bit more about it after I'm done watching it. So unfortunately, I couldn't finish it before I could do this top 10 list, but I'm pretty sure so far it seems like it would be. There was that Apple movie called Flora and Son from the director of Once and Sing Street and Begin Again, where the mom and her son kind of start making music together. She's getting trained by Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character via Zoom, and they kind of spark up a little relationship online, and it's just such a great, cute little movie. One movie that you, sir, still haven't watched that I feel like kind of got undercut by a lot of these awards circuits was Saltburn. I don't know what's going on, Chris. You give Kevin shit. Well, here we are, sir. Why haven't you watched Saltburn yet? What's going on?
I'm scared.
You should be. It's not that bad.
You say it's not that bad, but you keep saying, record your reaction at this point in time. So that scares me, sir.
Yeah.
That scares the shit out of me.
Fair enough.
So,
Fair enough.
I mean, I will do it eventually, and we'll see what happens, and I will record said reaction to said scene, but it's just gonna take me some
Fair
time.
enough. Maybe by next year. Yeah, that's really all I had. So,
I do have one.
uh-huh.
I just remembered one. One of Jennifer Lawrence's new ones, No Hard Feelings.
Oh, right. Great
I
movie.
really enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
Loved that
That
one.
was a man. I had that. Okay, to be honest, I had a list of like 30 plus movies. And when I was whittling it down, I was like, I think I took off some that I didn't mean to. And when you said that, that was one of them because I love that movie. That movie was hilarious. She's hilarious
Yes.
in it. And man, I just love a good old fashioned raunchy R rated comedy. Man. Throwback to the
And I
40s days.
I think we talked about it a little bit when I had first watched it. It was in my recently watched, but to me, it's Jennifer Lawrence in her actual personality
Oh, yeah. I think it fits more.
is what I feel like,
Yeah.
and like you could just tell she was at ease, like just playing herself. She was so comfortable,
Yeah.
and just her, and I think that's what makes it really good.
Absolutely. She's got a natural comedic presence towards her too. She's
Yeah.
always joking, always goofing off and stuff. But yeah, I think that's a good point. I definitely liked it better than last year's Causeway. Like that movie was so just boring, and I guess it was trying to be like overly dramatic, but I just found it so dull. And I mean, she's fine in it, and Brian Tyree Henry was fine in it, but it was just kind of like, just boring. This one, I'm glad she did it. It was a lot more fun. But so I guess
Oh
you
yeah,
want to go ahead and do your number ones.
I will.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
You're me. You tell me.
You know what? I'll do it. I'll do mine because
Okay.
I've talked at length about this movie, and it's Godzilla -1.
Ugh.
Easy number one for me. I
Yeah.
raved about it when I saw it, and I can't stop thinking about it. Takashi Yamazaki's directorial film. You know, Renosuke Kamika and Sakura Ando as the two leads. It's one of the best love stories I've seen all year. And it's odd saying that about Godzilla, but it's just the way that it's threaded in the ideals of a makeshift family in the act of a catastrophe. Just gorgeous movie, man. And the fact that it only cost like $20 million to make that movie looked like a $200 million picture. And there's a great boat scene that's like a throwback to Jaws. There's the battleship in sequence. So if you want action, it's got it. If you want heart, it's got it. You want this love story, it's got it. It has literally everything. It has twists, has turns, it breaks your heart, puts it back together, to break it again, to put it back together. It was a roller coaster, man. And then I watched the black and white version that they released too. Looked like a picture from the 1940s. It was so beautifully well done. And I can't stop raving about it. I was just looking today to see when the Blu-ray 4K was going to come out. There's no release date yet for it, which kind of scares me. I kind of need it now because I want to watch it again. And got
Is it streaming?
no,
yet?
no, it's not even streaming. So it's just I don't know when it's going to be. It came out a while back, man. Like it's been 4 or 5 months already since its initial release, but I just can't wait to watch it again. But Godzilla -1, it was my number one favorite film of last year. Chris,
I can't.
oh yeah,
I can't wait to watch it for the first time.
you haven't seen it? Oh, that's right. You were gonna go, but you saw the Iron Claw instead, right?
Yeah,
I remember you saying that. Yeah, dude, you're gonna
and
love
then
it.
then it disappeared from theaters, and I haven't been able to watch
Yeah,
it since. So.
unfortunately, in our geographical terrains, we can't really get movies to stay. You know, independent movies or foreign films to stay. If we get them at all, really. I mean,
Yeah, if we get them,
I think that's another reason why we delay our lists because we don't really get the opportunity to watch a lot of these movies because we don't get all of them at the theaters that we, that are in our
that we can go to.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, but yes, you're number one, sir. Hit us with it.
All right, my number one is a movie that was on my most anticipated 2023 list, and I called it, and I will hang my hat on this one, and I will tell you it's going to shock the world. Probably not, but the fact that it is being mentioned up there with your Oppenheimer, with all your other ones that have been nominated for Best Motion Picture of the Year, but it is Past Lives. Man, I know you're you're comparing it to another movie. I heard that.
Boys and Girls, 100%.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Whatever.
Makes perfect
No, it doesn't.
damn sense.
No,
It makes about as much sense as you saying it's going to win Best Picture.
It is, damn it.
I was like, is that what you're talking about? Shock the world? That would be shocking.
Yeah. I'm telling you, it will. But Celine's song, Greta Lee, Tio Yo, just, dude, it captured me from the beginning scene to the very end.
Yeah.
Shot beautifully, great story. And I it's like you in Godzilla -1. Like, I can't stop thinking about this movie. And, I've watched it a couple times now and pick up on new little things every time I watch it. And it's just amazing. And, to play back onto how you say I get to claim both Hispanic heritage and Asian heritage. Sure. See how it's sandwiched my list.
Yeah. Bookend. Just like you.
That's right. But man, I will say this, man, the huge surgence of Asian actors finally getting some credibility with all the movies they do and everything is just freaking amazing. They've had some really amazing roles in the past and have been overlooked, and now they are getting recognized for their work, and it's great. And I am so happy about it. And Past Lives will stay at my number one, and no matter how much Steven says it's Boys and Girls,
or A Lot Like Love.
No, quit putting movies.
It was in my honorable mention, but I didn't want to talk about it because I knew it was your number one. But I agree that movie was really good, dude. And the balls on the guy in the last scene when he's basically just like pouring his heart out to the woman. Spoilers, but while her husband's there, I'm like, bro, you were speaking, the language with him earlier. Like, do you not think he might pick up on some of those words? Pick up on
a couple of words,
like,
yeah,
bro. Like, that was kind of awkward and crazy because that's almost like what it builds up to is that acknowledgement of feeling and just how you've been bottling this up for all these years and stuff. And I thought they were really good. Man, they were so good because I felt like they were in the same room together, and even when they were doing the Skype Zoom call and stuff like that, and the payoff when they're together, you're just like, I don't give a shit if she's married. I want her to be with this guy. Like, they are just so perfect for each other. And
that is your destiny, ma'am.
What is the word? Oh, they used a particular.
They did.
Not kismet, but that's a Hindi terminology. But oh my god, I already forgot. I should have written it down because I was like, that's perfect. It's like destiny. But yeah, I agree. Good movie. Good number one. And yeah, you stuck with that one all year, buddy. I respect that.
Right.
I respect that allegiance. Well, I guess that's gonna wrap up our top 10. You know what? Let's do a quick rundown. Do you have your list still? We're gonna do a quick rundown again.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's my top 10 films of 2023. Number 10, They Clone Tyrone. Number 9, Sisu. Number 8, When Evil Lurks. Number 7, Tetris. Number 6, Barbie. Number 5, Poor Things. Number 4, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Number 3, The Iron Claw. Number 2, The Holdovers. And number 1, Godzilla -1. So, Chris, your top 10 again, please.
My number 10, Blue Beetle. 9, Creed 3. 8, Air. 7, Mutant Mayhem. 6, Oppenheimer. 5, that Steven made me skip, Super Mario.
You got to say it.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Number 4, Iron Claw. Number 3, Wonka. Number 2, Solar. And number 1, Past Lives.
Dude, I just realized when we were going through our rankings again, both of our 6s, it's Barbenheimer. We did it again.
It is.
We put them together again, Chris. Well done, sir. On that note, please, since we've gone way over time, close us off as
Yes.
fast as possible.
All right, guys. Thank you for listening as always. Wherever you're listening to, whether it's Apple Music, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon, however you listen to us, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you're notified every time we drop a new episode. Also, while you're there, go ahead and leave a 5-star review if you want to. That just helps us get seen a little bit more all over the podcast Google search world. And then head over to the social medias, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or X, and follow us there. Just look for, search for Screen Addicts Podcast and look for our little cover art. You will be sure to find us. And then also on Facebook, go and request to be a part of our group called the Screen Addicts Fanatics. That is where we're most active, dropping trailers and movie news and all the things. And we have a good group of people there that love to share memes and all sorts of things. Such a fun group to be a part of. So go and request that. Also, if you have any questions, concerns, or if you want to say anything to us about the show or have topic suggestions or want to be a guest potentially, you can always email us at screenaddictspodcast@gmail.com, and we will definitely take everything into consideration, 100%. But I think that's it, Steven. So as for me, good night.
Adios, amigos.